Everyone. Getting to the end of the year. It's already December. That also means time to start thinking about 2026 because it's coming up real soon. And I know a lot of my fellow New York powerlifters have already started to sign up for states, and states is coming up in March. A lot of people are really excited about that for a number of reasons. Yeah, and did make a post on my Instagram story a while ago, talking about some, strategies for, planning for, states and qualifying for national and, regional meets. And I know I had a lot of questions, in this Instagram story, so I figured I'd, make some long form content to, really kind of explain things in a little bit more detail. Again, I know, yeah, now, especially with the new requirement that started this year, all qualifying for Raw Nationals has to be at a state or higher level meet. And so, a lot of the people who are looking to qualify for nationals are going to be doing these state meets or regional meets. And even those people who aren't quite at the national level but are looking for a step up from the local level. I've been signing up for states. It has been growing in popularity these days. I mean, I know, again, local meet participation has been down, but states and regionals this year, had record signups. Like I think states had almost 300 people sign up, and regionals had 500 people sign up. So yeah, these are pretty big meets, and you know I think it's going to take some planning to make sure that qualifying for these meets and setting yourself up for the best outcomes if you are using these meets as a springboard to nationals. And so again, and I did want to go over some things real quick. More from a coaching strategy standpoint, than anything. I mean, I most likely will be, on the platform as a referee at states, but I'm not the technical secretary. I'm not the meet director. I mean, any specific questions, regarding, New York states, should really go to, Jan Dorio, the meet director. Um, but again, like I am going to explain qualifying procedures from a coaching perspective because like I think, when you are coaching or if you're just deciding on meets yourself or coaching yourself, like it is important to try to figure out like how these meets and any meets you need to qualify, fit into your overall plan. Um, and by the way, so one important thing to get off the bat is that the state and higher level requirement is only for raw nationals. So yeah, if you're just trying to put up a qualifying total for states or regionals, you can do that at any other USA powerlifting meet. In fact, even any other national meet besides raw nationals, like will accept a qualifying total from any USA powerlifting meet. So if you want to qualify for bench nationals or collegiate nationals or military, police and fire nationals or youth nationals or you know even now that masters raw nationals is going to be a separate meet from raw nationals, like you know masters nationals will accept a qualifying total for from any USA powerlifting meet. So again, the state and higher requirement is only for raw nationals, and again it's state or higher. So you can use a qualifying total from the previous year's raw nationals, or you can do like any like internet higher level, like pro or international meets. So like qualifying total from the Arnold, from the will count towards raw nationals. A qualifying total from Korea will count towards raw nationals. This is just state or higher. So, again, you can't use local meets to qualify for raw nationals, but state or higher level meets can qualify for raw nationals. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into some detailed qualifying procedures from the. So I think I mentioned before, but qualifying totals for all championships, and the rule book specifically states nationals, but this is going to apply for regionals as well as states. Yes, it's they must be achieved on or after January 1st of the year before the championship. And so, again, this time range has a number of implications. So, first of all, if your last meet was 2024 or earlier, that's not going to count for 2026. So you will need to put up a qualifying total. So like if your last state or higher level meet was 2024 or earlier, that's not going to be good for 2026. You'll have to do states or another higher level meet to qualify for raw nationals. So again, anything older than 2025, just flat out not going to count for anything. Um, you know, anything between January 1st of 2025 and the entry deadline, yeah, will count. So, and if you did qualify, for Raw Nationals, whether it was through competing at 2025 Raw Nationals or hitting the qualifying total at a state or regional meet, as long as again, you don't plan on changing weight classes or or trying to gun for prime time, which I'll get into in a little bit later. But you're good to go. You do not need to, compete in states in 2026 if you already have a qualifying total from 2025. Um, and so if you already have that qualifying total in 2025, you don't need to do a state meet in 2026. You can, compete at Raw Nationals. Now, I mentioned you know, changing weight classes or trying to improve your qualifying total from because the thing with Raw Nationals, all qualifying has to be done at a state or so. Even if you already have a qualifying total in one weight class, but you want to improve your qualifying total to move up weight class, or you want to move down, in which you do need to requalify. Um, yeah, you are unfortunately going to have to do a state meet. You can't, even if you've already qualified, yeah, with a state meet in 2025. Again, if you're changing your weight classes or if you're trying to improve your qualifying total for prime time, then you will need to do that at a state or higher level. Okay, so I kind of got qualifying for Raw Nationals. Like again, if you have a total in 2025 and it's already qualified and was at a state or higher level meet, you're good to go. Obviously, if you haven't hit that qualifying total yet, you are going to need to do it at states, or the Arnold, or but again, because it has to be at a state level or higher level meet, and there are only certain times of the year that have state or higher level meets. Most likely, states is going to be your only chance to do it. If you're aiming to qualify in 2026. There just aren't that many options available. Um, so again, and like you're not really going to have much of a choice but to qualify at a state championship. Now, the other implication of this on or after January 1st of the year before the championship rule is that qualifying totals achieved in 2026 count towards 2027. So, yeah, if you know you're not going to be able to um, compete at Raw Nationals in 2026, whether it's because you got sold out or, you know, the schedule conflicts with your schedule, or, you're not going to age into, the correct division until a year later, whatever the case may be. Again, 2026 states can still qualify you for 2027 nationals. Yeah, same when you have 2026 regionals, it can also be used to qualify for 2027 Raw Nationals. So, again, if you're in that situation where you're not going to be able to, compete at Raw Nationals in 26, but still want to do it in 27, it never hurts to plan ahead. Like I would encourage you to go ahead and, you know, do that state meeting, do that regional meeting, and try to, give yourself a shot to hit that qualifying total. And the reason why I say this is because you don't want to wait until the last minute. I mean, if you couldn't tell already, like, yeah, this is going to be a quick turnaround from states to Raw Nationals. New York State's is at the end of March, and Raw Nationals is going to be earlier in June and 26th than it was this year. So you have a much shorter window, and again, if you haven't qualified already and you're going to need to, hit that qualifying total in 26, you don't really have a choice. But again, if possible, you definitely want to try to avoid putting yourself in that situation in the first place. And so, again, if you hit that qualifying total early, you hit it at states or you hit it at regionals, it's great. You don't have to do another meet before next year's Raw Nationals rolls around. So, you know, again, like, I would encourage you, again, even if you're not going to do nationals in 26, to just plan ahead. And talking about planning ahead, on the other hand, if you haven't hit a total at any meet this year, and again, this this also includes, not just, not competing, but also like, signing up for a meet and bombing out. That is not a qualifying total in any circumstances. But, and so again, if you haven't competed in 2025 and are looking to do states in 26, I would sign up for a meet as soon as possible. Like, don't wait until the last minute. Really, the qualifying totals, yeah, most people who are competitive at stage, like, should be hitting these qualifying totals on their openers. Like, just pick a meet and get a total in the books so that again you're ready to go. By the time you know states rolls around. Like, again, like, the last thing you want to do is sign up and then realize you don't have a qualifying total and can't compete. One other important thing though about these qualifying totals, because there are some actual numbers here, and it's not a raw total in a USAPL meet of at least 75 kilograms, which except for masters 3 and up and youth. But for everyone else, all the weight classes and age divisions, like, there are actual numbers here. And so because of this, you need to make sure that you make weight not just at states, but at the meet that you're using to qualify for states. Because, if you want to move down a weight class, you will need to re-qualify in the lower weight class by that published 14-day weight class change deadline, which in the case of New York State's, it's March 12th. Um, yeah, so again, if you can move up if your qualifying total exceeds the qualifying total of the heavier weight class, but again, you cannot go down without a qualifying total in that lower weight class. So, yeah, I mean, that implies for nationals and regionals as well. But I think really important because for states again, you don't have a lot of time. Like again, it's just one more quarter of the year, and then we're already like in the state. So make sure when you are choosing your weight classes to choose a weight class where you can make weight. Like because again, if you miss weight at your qualifying meet, like, whatever you weigh in, that's going to be your weight class for states. Like you can't move down without requalifying. So, make sure you make weight and, yeah, and don't bomb out because, again, bombing out is not a total. You do need to make sure you make your attempts, and, for your weight class. Now, again, the one exception is if the qualifying total for all weight classes in that age division is a minimal total. And so again, you notice like for like your Masters 3, which is 60 and up, and then like all the other like higher older Masters divisions, like you say total in a USAPL meet of at least 75 kilos. Yeah, same with youth. And with those, again, like, you can move up and down freely, but, again, you still need to make sure you're using the athlete change form. If you are going to change your weight classes, make sure to do that by that weight class change deadline. Otherwise, again, if you miss weight, you're a guest lifter. So, make sure you are, you know, qualifying in the correct weight class. Again, like I said, like, that rule does apply equally to regionals as well as nationals. Yeah. Again, the regional qualifying totals are a little bit higher than states. And one other important thing to note is like when I talk about states, I'm talking about New York states specifically, because yeah, qualifying totals are not required in the rule book for state championships. The meet director can, you know, decide whether or not to implement qualifying totals, and if so, what those qualifying totals may be. So, this is also why, you know, these qualifying totals, they are specific for New York State Championships and can only be found on the New York State Championships specific website, because again, these are just for New York states and not for any other state. Whereas regionals, these qualifying totals do apply to all regions. So, regardless of what region you're from, like, they'll have the same qualifying totals, the same rules with regards to moving up and down weight classes. And so, in this case, this is in the USAPL national qualifying totals section. All right. So, just to reiterate, totals older than 2024 or older won't count for anything. So again, if that's the case, like you will need to requalify. If you already qualified for Raw Nationals, via Raw Nationals itself or a state or bio meet in 2025, you're good for 2026, unless again you want to change weight classes or try to improve your total for prime time. In which case, like again, you will need to do state meet. Um, and again, qualifying totals in 2026 can be applied to 2027 championships. So again, if you're not going to do yeah, Raw Nationals in 26, but you do want to do in 27. Just go ahead and encourage you to compete in states and regionals. And again, if you don't have a total in 2025, and you know you do want to compete in states, get it done ASAP. Let me know if you have any questions. Until next time, peace.